it amazes me that we're in this internet generation that all you hear on social media, through TV, the internet, different platforms, and you hear all these people talk about mental health. And, it's like what you hear, but the reality is totally different. I still get people, when I talk to people, if I see anyone, they still believe that mental health is something what you can just control by your head, that you have complete control of your mental health, that it's all in your head, that you don't need tablets, you just need to think a positive outcome, and this is how mental health treats you, that if you get help, that they believe that positive thinking training, it's technical mumbo jumbo, but basically that's what it is that you look at positive outcomes, negative outcomes, and it's about trying to change your mindset. It's like what they used to do with gay people, that they used to lock them up with and say, look, you're going to be looking at naked the opposite sex to you, and you're going to be turned into a normal human being, because they believe that you could change, gay people, and it's such a total different world compared to what social media is in the real world. So let's talk about this two major things. Depression. Now, basically, depression is a feeling that you feel overwhelmingly sad. Now, a lot of people say, I don't get depressed. Everyone gets depressed. It's just basically just have that one moment where you just feel, I can't cope, it's too much, or just feel too sad. Now, this could be a traumatic moment, it could be stress. You see a lot of women who have children, and when they have birth, that depression deepens, gets into a more mental health. See, so with depression is also that it could be a small chemical imbalance. And this is where people and the knowledge is not really told, because depression can last like that, a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of months. And if it's longer than a couple of years, likelihood you've got mental health. Now, what is mental health? Well, basically, that's what it is. It's up here. Your mental, your brain, You've got a illness in your brain, which people think that, you get cured, and that's, there's so many misconceptions about mental health. See, mental health is a condition what you live with all your life. Now, this could be like depression. It could be a traumatic experience which you can never recover from. This has damaged your brain. It's like if you imagine someone came in and ripped your heart out, you would understand, oh my God, that person hadn't got a heart, that person, right? And that's what mental health is. The emotional damage could do so much damage to your brain. And it doesn't matter about positive thinking or anything like that. That damage is permanent, right? And people think that when people have mental health, that they're perfectly happy, they're smiling, they're happy. People don't realise that you can have, like cancer, you can have a recovery, that you've recovered from the illness. It doesn't mean that it's gone, it means that you're in the recovery phase. That means you're stable, right? It doesn't mean that your mental health is gone. Those problems with your trauma or anything like that still could be there, that permanent damage, right? You are stable at that moment in time. there could be a trigger or it could be a trigger in life, or and this is what people don't understand. When you have mental health, your brain has this like switch in it, and it's like, I can't cope, I can't do anything, it's too much, and then that damage what you've had through traumatic experience comes back, you know, and it's you can't control that. You can't control the damage. You can't control the illness, but you can manage it, and that's a totally different concept, right? You can try to cope the best you can. You try to take the best days you can, but you're never going to say, well, that's permanently cured. It's always going to be there. Or there you've got a huge chemical imbalance where the brain can't produce certain things to make the brain stable. And there's also like mental health is such a vast illness. It's not like, oh, you've got mental health and that's a label. It's not. It's imagine a tree. You've got your top branches, you've got your leaves, and then you've got your twigs and your trunk, and then your roots. There's all these different types. You know, I suffer from clinical depression. And that basically means I could be okay, and then sometimes I'm so depressed. And what that means is that I'm so sad. I have no control of that feeling of sadness, and it's like a wave of, like you imagine on a beach, you know, the waves, and you're trying to get out of the sea, and the waves are pushing you back, and that's what this sadness is pulling you back into the sea. It's dragging you down. You have no control over that, and you know there's all these other mental health issues that you've got. I can't pronounce some of them, but you've got things like I think it's schizophrenic, you've got voices, you've got split personalities, you've got all these different things. And another misconception that people think that everyone is violent when they have mental health. Again, it depends on the type of depression you've got, the type of mental health you've got, you know, because like a lot of people might be angry, not because they're angry at other people, but angry because they can't control that emotion. You know, some people have got a violent mental health issues, and a lot of people on social media associate violence with mental health. You know, it is such a bigger topic than what TV. I know it's, you know, you sit there and you listen to all these celebrities saying, well, yeah, I've got mental health, and yeah, it is sad, but their life is totally different. You know, they've got money for coaches, they've got money for doctors, they've got people that they can help them in the real world where there isn't, you know, it's a luck of draw if you get help with mental health. I got lucky. I wasn't diagnosed till my late 30s. I've had 2 major breakdowns. The last one, I lost a lot of memories, and that was where I got a lot of help. I wasn't even diagnosed with mental health issues because when I was a kid, it wasn't even talked about like it is nowadays. I was sitting in the kitchen, you know, wanting to kill myself at the age of 4, you know. I was trying to kill myself, you know. I was having bad days. And, you know, it's such a misconception from what mental health really is. And it's a shame that with all these campaigns that no one's really sat down and talked about all the different types of mental health, the stereotypes, there isn't that much help, because if you know, after you've been diagnosed, if you get diagnosed, you know, some people get help from the GPs, some don't. You know, sometimes your GP diagnoses you as mental health, but they're not really given you a proper medication. They haven't given you the psychiatrists. They haven't given you the specialists and given you the proper avenue to go and see these people. They've just diagnosed you and off you go, and they give you all these medications with no supervision, no review after 6 months, 7 months, a year, 2 years to see. Because another thing that people with mental health, medication. People say, "Oh, you don't need medication." Yeah, you don't need medication if you don't want to be stable. I mean, I struggle without medication. I have to take my medication. I know I do. But there comes a point where a certain medication comes to the point where it doesn't work anymore, and no one's there to say, is the medication working? Is anyone checking upon you? No, it is totally different from what you hear online. And it's a shame that we live in a world where we're supposed to be sharing knowledge and technology and information. It's the reality. You take away the cameras and the people, and that you really talk to people who don't know about mental health, who have these preconceived ideas what mental health is. It is crazy. It's totally different. And it's a shame that we live in this type of world that we still are not helping people. There isn't this proper development with mental health. And it's sad that so many people out there are dying or suffering. It's a shame. Sorry, I just wanted to have a little talk to anyone who might be listening. Ciao. Bye.